We are now privileged to have a very special commencement speaker today, Mr. Steve Lipstein, President and Chief Executive Officer of BJC HealthCare, headquartered here in St. Louis. Steve has made a tremendous impact on healthcare in St. Louis and the Midwest, and in fact, throughout the country in his 4-decade career. He's also become a good friend of mine. You can read his long biographical citation in our program, but I want to provide a few highlights. Mr. Lipstein received his Bachelor of Arts degree from Emory University and Masters of Health Administration from Duke University. Following an administrative fellowship at the Massachusetts General Hospital, he began his career with an 11-year stay at the Johns Hopkins Hospital and Health System. In 1994, he moved to the Midwest to the University of Chicago Hospitals and Health System, becoming President and Chief Operating Officer in 1997. In 1999, Mr. Lipstein was named President and Chief Executive Officer of BJC HealthCare, one of the nation's largest healthcare organizations. BJC HealthCare serves patients and their families in urban, suburban, and rural communities throughout Illinois and Missouri in their 12 hospitals and other health service organizations, and are the largest employer in the state of Missouri with over 26,000 employees. Barnes Jewish Hospital and St. Louis Children's Hospital, part of the BJC system, are annually recognized as top 10 hospitals in the United States, and we are fortunate to have them as our neighbors. Mr. Lipstein serves on the Board of Trustees at Emory University and as Vice Chair of the Board of Directors for the National Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute. He's Treasurer of the St. Louis Regional Health Commission and on the Executive Committee of the Missouri Hospital Association. In 2013, he was named St. Louis Citizen of the Year, an award presented by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch to a St. Louisan who serves the community with distinction. And in 2014, he was elected for membership in the prestigious Institute of Medicine of the National Academies. It is with great pleasure that I introduce a transformational leader and innovator, Mr. Steve Lipstein.
Good afternoon. I'm going to take this off because the tassel keeps getting in my glasses. Dr. Pieper, thank you for those kind words of introduction and for inviting me to be a part of these commencement proceedings. And to the graduating class of the St. Louis College of Pharmacy, my heartfelt congratulations. Very soon, in a matter of just minutes, President Pieper will confer upon all 206 of you the degree of Doctor of Pharmacy, the culmination of 6 years of very hard work, many hours of study, and a whole lot of learning. And soon thereafter, you will join those of us working in the healthcare professions, helping to relieve human illness and suffering, curing human disease, and beginning your careers in service to our fellow human beings. Graduates, pause for a moment. You may need to stand up and turn around to do what I'm about to ask you to do. But right now, please look around you and find the eyes of somebody who is here today to celebrate with you. Your mom or dad, a brother or sister, a wife or a husband, a friend, a classmate, a grandparent or a child, and I know there's a child here, a professor or an advisor. These are the people who have been cheering for you all the years that you have known them. And while today is your day, think about how much more special this day is because of those with whom you share it. Many years from now, you will not remember my name. It's a long shot that you will remember anything I am about to say. But all of these people you are looking at right now, take them along with you on life's journey. They will be there for you, and you will be there for them. I extend my congratulations to all the moms, dads, uncles, aunts, and grandparents out there. I am a dad and I am an uncle, and between now and the middle of June, I get to attend 4 other commencements. Not as a speaker, thank goodness, and cheering and shouting out for my kids and my niece. A minute ago, I foreshadowed that being a commencement speaker is no easy assignment. I worry that not many moms and dads out there can remember who spoke at their graduations, let alone can remember what the speaker had to say. So to help me to prepare for today, and in keeping with the times, I did research the new fashioned way. I pulled out my cell phone, I asked Siri to find me the top 10 commencement speeches in recent history. Siri gave me the New York Times list, which includes speeches by Steve Jobs, Conan O'Brien, Winston Churchill, George Marshall, John Kennedy, and Stephen Colbert. I began to panic. As President Pieper shared with you, underneath my fancy titles, I am a hospital administrator. I did not invent the iMac or the iPad or the iPhone. I have never been the leader of a country during wartime, and I do not have my own TV show. In fact, Colbert finished his commencement address at Knox College giving the graduates just 2 pieces of advice. And he said to them, first, being pre-approved for a credit card does not mean you have to apply for it. And second, the best career advice he would give you if he were here today is to get your own TV show. It pays well, the hours are good, and you are famous, and eventually some very nice people will give you an honorary degree for doing jack squat. Interestingly enough, some of the most popular commencement speakers in recent memory are the late-night talk show hosts. So in keeping with that theme, in reading many commencement talks in search of inspiration for my appearance here today, I have developed my own version of Dave Letterman's top 10 commencement address messages. Number 10, Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City. He said, graduates, throughout your lives, do not be afraid of saying what you believe is right, no matter how unpopular it may be, especially when it comes to defending the rights of others. Stand up for the rights of others, because in some ways, that is even more important than standing up for your own rights. Because when people seek to repress freedom for some, and you remain silent, you are complicit in that repression, and you may well become its victim. J.K. Rowling is at number 9. She's the author of the Harry Potter stories. We do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better. Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Great Britain, never give in, never give in, never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense. Bradley Whitford, the actor on West Wing, he told the graduates, take action. Every story you've ever connected with, every leader you've ever admired, every puny little thing that you have ever accomplished is the result of taking action. You have a choice. You can either be a passive victim of circumstance, or you can be the active hero of your own life. Steve Jobs, Apple CEO, is at number 6. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living somebody else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. Stephen Colbert is at number 5. You will truly serve only what you love, because as the prophet says, service is love made visible. If you love friends, you will serve your friends. If you love community, you will serve your community. If you love money, you will serve your money. And if you love only yourself, you will serve only yourself, and you will have only yourself. Try to love others and serve others, and hopefully find those who love and serve you in return. Now, before I go on, How many of you in the audience today know the name Victor Yanchek? This is what I'm afraid of. Dr. Yanchek was last year's commencement speaker at this very same College of Pharmacy. And now I'm nervous. Dr. Yanchek is the Dean of the School of Pharmacy at Virginia Commonwealth University. I read his remarks as I prepared my own, and his were terrific. They're better than mine. And so the next three on my list of top 10 commencement address messages come from Dr. Yanchek, someone who knows a whole lot more about the pharmacy profession than I do. Number 4, Dr. Yanchek mentioned an exam with an acronym that was foreign to me, NAPLEX. He thinks it is probably a good idea that you study for and pass this exam. For the moms and dads out there, I asked Siri about this too, and she told me that it stands for the North American Pharmacist Licensure Examination. Number 3, Dr. Yanchek told last year's graduates to get a life, a real life, not just some frantic move in search of a bigger paycheck, a new car, or a big investment portfolio. Get a life in which you are generous. Take money that you would have spent on a fancy dinner and give it to a charity or to the College of Pharmacy. Volunteer at a free clinic. Be a big brother or a big sister. Become intimately involved within your community and with people that you care for and who also care about you. And at number 2, Dr. Yanchek said last year to the class of 2014 with these parting words: work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, and dance like no one is watching you. And at number 1, I take one more quote from J.K. Rowling of Harry Potter fame. She said, "I have one last hope for you. The friends with whom I sat on graduation day have been my friends for life. They are my children's godparents, the people to whom I have been able to turn in times of trouble, friends who have been kind enough not to sue me when I have used their names for Death Eaters." At our graduation, we were bound by enormous affection, by our shared experience of a time that would never come again, and of course by the knowledge that we held certain photographic evidence that would be exceptionally valuable if any of us ran for prime minister. So much for the wisdom of others. Now some graduation guidance from me, the hospital administrator. Today, I have a distinct privilege of serving as a chief executive of one of the nation's largest and most prestigious healthcare organizations, BJC HealthCare. But I didn't start out here. Years before I received a bachelor's degree, I started as a nursing unit clerk on a nursing unit at Emory University Hospital, working 3 to 11 shift, Saturday and Sunday evenings while I was in college. On Saturday and Sunday evenings at Emory's Hospital, many unit clerks were students, people I got to know on a first-name basis. Joe in the pharmacy, Mary in food services, Peter in linen services, Jeff in the laboratory. I could pick up the phone, speak with somebody who knew my name and I knew theirs, and I felt like we, the weekend evening shift unit clerks, ran the place. We could get anything done. Lifelong lesson number 1, working with people, knowing their names and knowing their stories is the best way to get things done. Not working over them, not working under them, working alongside of them. On that nursing unit at Emory Hospital, we had people working there who ranged in education from those who had not graduated from high school to those with more than a dozen years of education and professional training after college. Each of them had an important role to play in serving the patients on our unit. Lifelong lesson number 2, everybody is important and everybody adds value to our work in service to others. Whether it be the housekeeper who cleans the floor in your room, the food service worker who serves your meals, the therapist who eases your pain, the nurse who tends to your illness or injury, the pharmacist who watches over your medicines, the surgeon who operates and repairs your body, and yes, even the nursing unit clerk turned hospital administrator turned CEO. We all have important roles to play. We all make a valuable contribution. We are all important, and none of us are more important or less important, more valuable or less valuable. We all need to do what we do and to do it to the best of our ability. Our very best teamwork produces the best possible outcome for our patients and their families. And then another lesson that I learned as a nursing unit clerk that has most influenced my career choices is perhaps obvious to all of you. It's a revelation that the people who are patients in a hospital don't want to be there. They would rather be almost anywhere else. They don't want to need a doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist. Some are in pain and some are bleeding. They suffer from ailments we often don't like to talk about out loud. And almost always they are afraid or anxious, worried, scared. And as a consequence, they cannot be expected to be on their best behavior. Lifelong lesson number 3. The healthcare professions are a high calling. You wake up each and every day and serve people who typically do not want to see you. They will be anxious and worried, uncertain as to whether or not the medicine or remedy that has been prescribed will relieve their symptoms, cure their illness, heal their injury. They may not be on their best behavior, but with professionalism, compassion, understanding, and competence, you serve the whole patient, addressing both their medical and their human needs by adding together all that you have learned here at the St. Louis College of Pharmacy with your own special personality, your individual values and work ethic, and your keen intellect. Being a doctor of pharmacy is so much more than filling prescriptions. It is a high calling to human service. Those are 3 lifelong lessons that have served me well since the beginning of my healthcare career. A lot has changed since then, and now it is safe to say I am nearer to the end of my career than I am to the beginning. You can tell that I have been in healthcare for a long time because for most, the end of one's working days signals retirement. For me, it brings eligibility for Medicare. And in my forthcoming eligibility for Medicare comes a change in population demographics that may well be one of the most impactful changes in your working lives. When Medicare was established back in 1965, there were 20 million people over the age of 65. If you lived to be 65 years old back then, on average, you were going to live another 7 or so years into your early or mid-70s. Back then, we couldn't replace your aging joints, not your knees or your hips or your elbows or shoulders. We could not rebuild and strengthen your spine. In 1965, we didn't insert stuff into your heart, not catheters or stents or valves or pacemakers or defibrillators. And back then, before the introduction of advanced chemotherapy, including biologics and gene therapy, before precision and radiation beam therapy, a stage 3 cancer diagnosis meant almost certain and immediate death. And it doesn't mean that anymore. And today, with advanced immune system therapeutics, we can replace failing kidneys and livers, hearts and lungs. What this all means is that if I get to be age 65, on average, I will live another 19 years to reach age 84. And that means that when I get there, instead of 22 million Americans over the age of 65, there will be 80 million of us. And I'm looking at all of you up there in the balcony. And with all of us older Americans needing health care, you will be called upon to figure out new and better, and yes, less expensive ways to take care of us. You can expect that some, maybe all of the advances in medical science and technology that have characterized the past 50 years will be rendered obsolete during the next 50. New knowledge and new discoveries will lead to new treatments, new therapies, and yes, new drugs. Lifelong lesson number 4, keep learning. Your school days may be behind you, but your learning curve is never ending. Your diploma doesn't tell us what you know. It tells us that you have been trained to learn the art and the science of pharmacy, and that you are now able to keep on learning during a career that will surely bring new information and advances in medicine. And finally, doesn't that sound nice? Whenever the commencement speaker says, "and finally," everybody sits up, opens their eyes, and hopefully gets ready to clap politely as if on cue. And finally, today is a big deal for you. Today you become a doctor of pharmacy. And as I said a moment ago, it is a high calling to human service. But as big a deal as it is to be a doctor of pharmacy, that is not who you are. It is what you will do to earn a living. The profession does not define you, you define it. You will make the profession better or worse by your own deeds and actions. Lifelong lesson number 5. Always keep in mind that you will have much more important titles in life than being a doctor of pharmacy. Being the CEO of BJC is not who I am. It is my current job. Who I am is son to Nan and Lenny Lipstein, brother to David, Bruce, and Carol, dad to Greg, Ross, and Kate, uncle to 9 nieces and nephews, and not just because she's sitting there in the front row, my most important and most meaningful title in life is husband to Susan. Go forward, 2015 graduates of the St. Louis College of Pharmacy. Serve your profession and your fellow human beings with humility and dedication. Be a devoted son or daughter. If you have siblings, be a thoughtful brother or sister. If you marry, be a supportive spouse. If you have kids, be a nurturing dad or mom. And no matter what other life choices you may make, I hope you will be a person who loves and is loved. Good luck and Godspeed.
Thank you, Steve, for these remarkable comments and ideas. As a small token of our appreciation, I would like to present to you with this gift to commemorate your time with us today.